Hello and welcome to my channel. Have you ever imagined as a project team or even as a project manager, how are you going to manage the uncertainty in the project? What is called risk management. Don't look elsewhere. In this video, I'm going to take you through that you need to manage uncertainty in a project. That is risk management. So let's get started. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Oscar Mbira. I'm a certified program and project manager. In this video, I'm going to take you through the process of managing uncertainty in a project, which is called risk management. So if the risk is going to occur, which areas is it going to affect? Or if it's a set of risks, which areas are going to be affected because of that risk? So that is what we're going to go through this section of the video. So the first part is timeline. As a project manager, you should be able to assess the impact of the risk on the timeline. There are certain risks, if they occur, you might be forced either to stop the project altogether, or you might be forced to scale down in terms of your scope. So that assessment is very, very important. If you are still to deliver the project within the same timeline, and a very major risk has occurred, which becomes an issue, you might be forced to change the scope in order to stay within the timelines. The other section is the costs. You should be able to assess the impact of the risk on the cost. In some cases, some of these risks, if they happen to be on the negative side, they are going to affect the cost. You are going to end up with a project that is going to have a project overrun or budget overrun in a project. So you also need to assess the impact. During the workshops, you should be able to assess the impact of each and every risk, especially on the time and also on the cost. That is very, very important for a project manager to consider, especially during the initiation stage of the project, where you are going to be identifying most of these risks, you are going to assess most of these risks. You should consider to assess the impact of each and every risk. I hope you have enjoyed the video so far. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to click the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification button so that you are the first person to be notified each time a new video is uploaded on this channel. It will also help this channel to produce more videos like this one. Also, on assessing the impact of a risk, you might also need to consider physical resources. There are certain risks if they occur. For example, if it's flooding and you are running a bridge construction project, you are most likely going to have some damages on the physical structure of the building. You are most likely going to have some damages on the physical structure of the bridge. If you are constructing a building or a house, you are most likely going to have the physical structure on that particular house or building. So you need to assess the impact. In case that happens, what are you going to do as a project manager? Or in case that is happening, are you able to avoid it? During the impact assessment, you also need to consider this impact on the staff. There are certain cases where if a specific risk occurs, it will affect the staff morale, definitely. Say, for example, there's a risk that a specific leader in the organization is going to leave, and this leader is the one who was representing most of the staff members in case they had any issues, and that person leaves the organization. That is going to lower the staff morale in the project because there's going to be some level of uncertainty as to what exactly is going to happen in case there's no replacement, immediate replacement with the same caliber as compared to the person who left. Sometimes it can also be demotivating. Say, for example, I've seen it when you're constructing a building, as an example, you reach a certain level, there's a natural disaster like an earthquake, for example, or even there's a landslide, for example, and then the building is damaged. Now you have to start again from the beginning because you cannot continue on a structure that you know it has got cracks, it has got some weaknesses here and there. So that kind of risk can also pose as a demotivating factor, especially to those who have started the project as compared to those who have just joined the project. So you need to assess the impact of such risks on the staff. The people who are working in the project, the team members who are working in the project. That assessment must be done so that if there's a way you can have plan B in case it happens, then at least you can take it from there. The other consideration when you are assessing the impact of a risk is other projects. I've been in projects where our product was supposed to fit into the next project. So if we were to delay to complete our project, which means our product was never going to be used for the next project. So as a project manager, the assessment, or if you're a project team, what you need to assess is the impact of your project to other projects, especially if you're running a project which is interlinked to other upstream projects. Therefore, you need to assess the impact of each and every risk, because if you don't assess it or you don't plan for it and then it happens, it's going to affect your project either negatively or positively. It will also affect any other projects lined up after your project. So your impact assessment should always consider other projects, mostly the external projects, or there could be projects within a program. So you need to be able to assess the impact. You need to be able to plan for the risk, so that in case it happens, it won't be as devastating as compared to when you're not prepared. That is very, very important for you to consider as a project manager. One of the most important impact assessment you should do to a risk is also on the business level benefit. There are certain risks, if they occur, it will be very, very difficult to justify any business need to continue with the project, any business benefit to continue with the project. So your assessment must be very, very clear, and it must go as deep as business level benefits that they are going to get from that specific project if a specific risk was to occur. So there are certain cases, if that risk was to occur, you can just accept. So you can accept and move on. In some cases, you can avoid. So during your risk workshop, make sure that each and every risk that you have identified, you also assess the impact on the business benefit. The next related item is also to make an impact assessment on the timing of the business benefit. Say, for example, you're creating a new product. That's your project. And you have a competitor who is also attempting to create the same product. By any reason, the competitor is ahead of you. They've already managed to create their product. It's already in the market. And you are still maybe 80% of completing your product. You're still running that as a project. So as a project manager, you might be forced either to change the scope in order to meet the market demands, so that your competitor does not go as much as possible. You might want to reduce the expected benefits because your competitor is now ahead of you. So assessing the impact of business benefits timing is very, very important as a project manager. You need to do this all the way from the beginning of the project up to the end of the project. That impact assessment is very, very important. I hope you have enjoyed the video so far. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to click the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification button, so that you are the first person to be notified each time a new video is uploaded on this channel. It will also help this channel to produce more videos like this one. The next important assessment that you must do as a project manager is the quality. Quality assessment or impact assessment is very, very important. There are certain risks, if they occur, you might be in trouble in terms of quality. Say, for example, a specific organization was creating some parts that you want to use in your current deliverables. And by any chance, they are no longer going to do that. And you have no other option except to wait for them to provide that specific part. That is also going to affect the project. Or if you decide to change, it might also even affect the quality of the product that you're going to create. For example, you're expecting a steel product to be part of the input into your project, and then all of a sudden you're starting to get plastic parts or products into your project. That is going to affect the quality of your project. For example, you are working on a project to produce a certain product, and most likely there are going to be some electrical faults and the product is half burnt, or there are going to be some floods, the product is mixed with water, and so on and so forth. So that is going to compromise quality. So in your impact assessment, you need to make sure that you are assessing if the risk occurs, how likely and to what extent is it going to affect the quality of the project, the quality of the project products, the quality of the project deliverables. That is very, very critical as a project manager to make that assessment well from the beginning of the project all the way up to the project closure. If you want me to create more additional videos based on what we have gone through in terms of techniques, in terms of concepts, or you have got any specific clarifications or questions that you have, let me know in the comment section below.